Continuing from the previous chapter. An hour later, we drove to Yuntan Mountain. Yuntan Mountain is located in the southwest corner, with a winding river on the left, which Huang Baoan said flows towards Maling River. There's a large canyon there, and this river is a collection of it. On the right side of Yuntan Mountain are several flat peaks, except for the first one that is towering. The others are all flat. It's a perfect location, with the river on the left representing the Azure Dragon's energy, while the towering peaks on the right resemble a tiger raising its head. The flat back symbolizes the white tiger's power. Yuntan Mountain is indeed a treasure land. With the Azure Dragon on the left and the white tiger on the right, even though there's no vermilion bird in front and no black tortoise in the back. However, being buried in such a place, finding a suitable Feng Shui treasure land, would undoubtedly bring blessings to future generations. We arrived at the halfway point of Yuntan Mountain, where Huang Baiwan's grandfather was buried. They had built a road here for easy access to pay respects and offer sacrifices. As soon as we got off the car, I started looking around carefully. From the burial site of Huang Baiwan's grandfather, if you look to the left, there was the winding river, and on the right, there was the White Tiger mountainous terrain, which did indeed resemble the Azure Dragon winding and the White Tiger bowing down. Listening to Huang Baiwan's explanations, I nodded thoughtfully. Such Feng Shui arrangements could indeed change the fate of a family. Without saying anything, I turned my gaze to the several evergreen trees in front of the grave. These evergreen trees were already big and sturdy, but their leaves were withering, and their trunks were decaying. It seemed like they were dying. Seeing me look at those big trees, Huang Baiwan continued, "These trees were planted when my grandfather was buried here. They've been alive for decades, but now they seem to be dying." I shook my head and asked him, "Do you know why evergreen trees are planted in front of graves?" Huang Baoan shook his head and said, "I haven't heard my father mention it. Isn't it just for decoration?" "It's not for decoration. There's always a reason for planting trees in front of a grave. Your grandfather's burial site is located in a Feng Shui treasure land. This place can be said to have changed the destiny of your Huang family. Your father may have had some issues with his offspring's lineage, and evergreen trees represent the offspring's lineage. By planting these two trees, he was able to have a son." After hearing my words, Huang Baoan nodded in agreement. "Yes, that's right. My father didn't have a son before my grandfather passed away. After my grandfather's death, my father finally had me, the only child." The Feng Shui books were indeed accurate. This Feng Shui master must have great skills. Feng Shui can change one's fate. Your father had problems with his offspring's lineage, so he sought a son at your grandfather's grave. And you happen to have a destiny of having many children, and these two evergreen trees are still far from dying. Evergreen trees can live for thousands of years. If they start withering and decaying after only a few decades, it indicates that the Feng Shui of the grave has been severely damaged. I continued to explain, "If I'm not mistaken, your family has fallen into a Feng Shui trap. And this is a Feng Shui trap that will lead to the extinction of your Huang family." Hearing my words, Huang Baoan and the others were shocked, their faces full of disbelief. "How could that be? Our Huang family has never offended anyone," Huang Baoan asked in disbelief. I didn't know if they had offended anyone, but what I saw was true. I raised my hand and pointed to the ground, saying, "If you don't believe it, you can dig 3 feet underground to see. There must be many, many insects under the ground. You can find any courier to do it for you." After hearing me, Huang Baoan and the others seemed hesitant, but they still had people take out shovels and started digging. In a moment, the diggers shouted, "Master, there's something. There are so many insects." Hearing the servant's words, Huang Baoan and the others rushed over. As soon as they approached, Huang Yi screamed. I hurried forward to see what was happening. When I saw it, I was also startled. If it weren't for maintaining my composure, I would have screamed like Huang Yi. It was too terrifying. The pit they dug was full of bugs, centipedes, millipedes, beetles, ants, snakes, and some fleshy, round things wriggling and struggling in the soil. For people with entomophobia, seeing such a scene would probably make them go crazy. Huang Baoan was also shocked by the scene, and now he had no doubts about me anymore. He exclaimed excitedly, "Mr. Li, this, please help us. You must help our Huang family. Whatever you want, I'll give it to you." I waved my hand and said, "Since I'm here, naturally, I'm here to solve the problem. As for your reward, we can discuss it later. At 8 o'clock this afternoon, we'll dig the grave and open the coffin. Go back and get ready." Hearing about digging the grave and opening the coffin, Huang Baiwan's expression changed slightly, but he quickly recovered and nodded repeatedly, saying, "Yes, yes." At 8 o'clock in the afternoon, everything was ready. The grave diggers also gathered around the burial site, ready to start. I checked the time. It was already 12 o'clock. Everything I saw earlier matched exactly with what the Feng Shui book said. I hoped that opening the coffin wouldn't have any unexpected issues. My greatest hope now was that my first job would go smoothly. "Alright, start." As soon as I said that, several large bodyguards rolled up their sleeves and began to work. However, just as the shovel went down, a black Audi A6 suddenly arrived, and immediately after that, a person shouted, "Stop! Don't dig!"